Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be talking about the Power Rangers Legacy in Space Pink Ranger from Bandai. Let's go ahead and get this figure free from its plastic prison, take a look, and see what we think about the Pink Ranger. And here is the Pink Ranger completely out of the box. This figure is based off the Pink Ranger from Power Rangers in Space, which was the 6th season of the American Power Rangers, which was based off of the 21st season of the Japanese Super Sentai series Denji Sentai Mega Ranger. If you haven't gone back and watched any of the Sentai series, especially the ones that have Power Ranger counterparts, I highly encourage it because they're a lot of fun, and at least for me, I find it really neat to see where these things originated from, and there is a definite difference between Mega Ranger and Power Rangers in Space, but I'll leave that for y'all to find on your own. Anyway, back to the figure. Unfortunately, the only accessories that come with the In-Space Mega Rangers are their Mega Snipers and the holster. Now, the holster plugs into the right side of their belts, and I don't have any problems with the holster staying inside the belt. My problem comes from the gun staying in the holster. No matter what I do, if I even just barely even think about touching the figure, the gun will fly out of the holster, and then I have to spend an hour looking for it. It's kind of a pain, but, you know, it's better than nothing. However, I wish we would have got character-specific weapons, and I think that that is a big detriment to these figures, but nevertheless, like I just said, it's better than nothing. Now, the other thing that they do come with, and I don't know if this is technically an accessory, but it is specifically a Build-A-Figure or Build-A-Zord piece. Now, the Pink In-Space Ranger, she comes with the right arm piece that is used to build the Astro Megazord figure. Now, this figure is really cool. The more time I spent with it, it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of detail in it, and it's actually, at first, when I first started playing with it, I was thinking it would probably be about, 6.5 inches, but no, it's 7.5 inches tall, and that's awesome. So it's an inch taller than the actual figures themselves, and I like that a lot. Really neat. Super glad that they're doing this, and in fact, this is one of the biggest incentives for me collecting this line. As I just mentioned, these figures are about 6.5 inches tall, and for some that might be a problem. Some might be able to make it work. It all depends on what you're trying to do with these figures. Like if you want them on a shelf, with all the figures from this line, they're going to look great. If you try to mix them with SH Figuarts, you might have some problem, and if you're trying to get them to go with your Marvel Legends, you might could fudge it here and there. But instead of me telling you about it, why don't I just give you some examples? So let's get into some comparisons. Here she is with the In-Space Red Ranger that was previously released in this line. Here she is with the In-Space Yellow Ranger that was also previously released in this line. And here she is with the whole team of In-Space/Mega Rangers. Here she is with the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger from the same Legacy line that was previously released. Here she is with Rogue from the X-Men wave of Marvel Legends. Here she is with Ryu from Soda Toys. Here she is with He-Man from Masters of the Universe Classics. And here she is with the SH Figuarts Pink Ranger. And unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to mix these two lines. But what are you going to do? And if you're wanting to recreate that classic crossover of the Power Rangers in Space with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Next Mutation, about the closest you're going to get is with these figures. So here she is with the Playmates Classics Donatello action figure. And here she is with the Raphael from SH Figuarts. At first glance, you might think that these figures are not very detailed. However, once you look at the helmet, the abs, the chest, the belt, and even the boots and the gloves, there is some detail there that makes the figure stand out a little bit more, but there's not much. However, I actually prefer it this way when it comes to the Power Ranger figures in general. In the past, when I've seen Bandai America release Power Rangers figures, I got really excited because as a kid, I didn't want the bigger, the taller ones or the more like 12-inch scale figures. I wanted figures that were closer to 6-inch scale, and more recent years has seen Bandai actually release some of them here in America. However, they've been like super blown out and like muscly and just muscles everywhere essentially, and I was not a fan of that because they didn't look how they looked in the show, and I wanted something that more closely resembled their show presence than just some Americanized version of what a superhero looks like. And this line of legacy figures from Bandai America, I think, does that very well. Almost like a hybrid of like a little bit of the SH Figuart style where it's very show accurate, and then a little bit of muscle here and there that's Americanized like Bandai America likes to release. And so with this figure in particular, really the only muscles that you're actually getting are in sculpt-wise are in the abs. Now the rest, like her legs and her arms, are muscular, but it's more like just anatomy as opposed to like body, like, you know, like superhero muscles, I should say. And I think that makes the figure look a lot better in my opinion. Now moving on to the paint, I don't really recall seeing too many paint issues when I was looking for these figures, like through the pegs of these figures. Most of the errors that I saw, or like paint problems, were in the chest piece, on the multicolored chest piece. And I did see on the White Ranger that there was a spot on his visor that looked as if like some glue had stuck to it and someone removed it. But other than that, everything else is pretty clean, mostly due to the fact that a lot of these parts appear to be cast in the color that they are being made for. So you're not going to have a lot of room for paint error. All right, so let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of the pink In Space Ranger. So let's start with the head. So she's got a 360 rotation at the head, so she can look all the way around. She can look up this far, and she can look down that far. She has an ab crunch. Well, not really a crunch. It's more just like a ball joint. So she can get a lot of, in a lot of poses. So there's a lot of range of motion in here. It can go about that far to that side and that far that side. But she also, that's at the chest. Then her waist, mine seems to be a little stuck, but I don't want to tempt it. But it can go that far as well. So I'm not sure if it can go 360 because I really don't want to break this figure. Anyway, so then back up to the shoulders, her arms can go up pretty high. And then go down. She's got a bicep swivel. And then she's got single jointed elbows, which is interesting. And she does have a forearm cut at the, well, forearm. And her wrist is articulated just like the other characters in this wave, with, you know, a joint and then a swivel as well. So you can get a lot of range of motion out of that. And then, yeah, so then moving on to her legs, her skirt is cut right here, so it does help to allow for some more articulation or some more movement. But it definitely does still hinder her range of motion. So she can only really kick out this far, and back, not really at all. Like you really can't get her to kick back just straight. Her leg does go out pretty far though, like this. So that's, you know, okay, I guess. It does, looking up her skirt, which is really terrible. She has a thigh cut. It's not quite like the guys in this line, but it is, it's still there. So you can get some motion out of that. And then she does have double jointed knees. She has a calf swivel, and her ankle is a pivot and a joint that's really cool and allows for a lot of motion that you can get a lot of poses out of with that. And yeah, I think that's it. So there you go. There is all the points of articulation, or I should say, there are all the points of articulation that you're going to get out of the In Space Pink Ranger. Much like the other figures released in this line, I think this figure's great. It looks great, it closely resembles the character that it's trying to portray from the TV shows, and most importantly, it goes to help build our teams that we're missing on our Power Rangers Super Sentai shelves, and that's super cool. Now, my gripes come in the way of one being that they do not include their signature weapons. I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it here again. I feel like this figure, like, it just looks incomplete without their signature weapon. Now, I like the fact that they do include the sniper, the gun, or whatever, because, like, sometimes that might be overlooked, you would think, but so it's a cool addition. However, I really feel like the signature weapon being included with these figures would have put them over the top and make them really feel like a $20 figure, because overall you're getting the sniper, the holster, the figure, and the Build-A-Zord piece, and that's pretty good. But that extra signature weapon would have been fantastic and really would have given us a lot more, I don't know, like, just made the figure feel more complete. But hopefully Bandai will give us a weapons pack down the road, but who knows. And then my second gripe is that, now this could be a personal thing because, I don't know, I just might not be really good at posing these figures, but I had a lot of trouble trying to get these figures into a pose and then even holding that pose. Now, like I just said, that could be me, but I felt like some of the joints are really nice and tight, and then some are kind of loose, and I think that it's not necessarily just like, you know, just the joint itself, but it could be the plastic is of a cheaper material, so it might not hold as well as what I'm used to with Marvel Legends, let's say. So that could be a problem, but I mean, overall, I think these figures are great. I really like them, and to be honest, I really just want them for the shelf. You know, I want to have them represented in my toy room. And so for that purpose, they serve the job well. Now, if you're wanting to get a lot of, you know, toy art going on with the photos and posing and stuff, you might have a little bit of trouble, and given the fact that they only have one weapon and no other interchangeable hands, you might have some difficulty there. But again, like I said, hopefully Bandai will rectify this down the road. Regardless of all that, I think these figures are great, and if you've got the money and you like Super Sentai and Power Rangers, I think you should go for it. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, hit that like button. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button while you're at it. And hey, if you want to hear more from me for some odd reason, check out the links to my other podcast in the description below. And be sure to check back here every day for more opening goodness right here on Easy Opens. Else time.